Hey guys, kinda long time no see us again, I guess, but hey, this is Game Cow, and well, finally I actually got a chance to do a game for once. So, since the last video thing, I've had maybe 2 matches, and to be honest, neither of them have been that great, but at least I didn't play like complete crap, I guess, in this one, so it's one of those things that there probably aren't going to be too many super amazingly ridiculous matches and stuff for this, and I should lower my standards a little bit because I haven't played in forever. And a lot of the people that I would have played with are obviously not super meta game people anyway, so untested on teams and an inexperienced thing, plus all of that jazz. I should really not necessarily have to go, oh, this has to be the closest, most amazing match ever, in that exact tone, because, yeah. So, that, compounded with the fact that Monster Hunter has come out fairly recently, I may actually start making some videos on that, even though I, again, haven't done online stuff with that yet, but, the village stuff is pretty fun in its own right, so I may well make videos for that just because it's there. Yeah, I haven't had the chance to do too many games yet, but I shall probably be asking for matches every maybe Friday or so, like today maybe, over on my Twitter stuff, and if I get some decent games, or, some not just completely in your face kind of 6-turn 6-0 sort of things, then I shall put them up, and try to still comes everything out. So, today's match is against Glaceonice. Well, she is a pretty cool person, I've got to say. She's been one of those people who has been around the stream stuff when I was able to do that for quite some time, and she always has some interesting ideas about stuff, to say the least. She loves a lot of Pokemon that a lot of people don't. So, a lot of people are like, Gastrodon is ugly and stuff. She's like, it's the best Pokemon in the world, you shut your face. Minus that last part, she probably would say it anyway if she wanted. So, with that aside, I kind of saw that there was a fair amount of distrust towards Sableye in this game. I didn't really see it immediately, but I was like, Sableye could probably come in at some point and do some work. So long as it avoided like a Toxic or something for on the Switch or whatever, stuff like that. I didn't really see very much that was going to attack Sizzle too badly. And, well, yeah, that's kind of it. This team is something I've been wanting to try out for a while because I wanted to see what all the fuss about Gothitelle was. And so basically there's a lot of switching into Gothitelle with attacks and stuff, U-turn, Volt Switch, stuff like that, and then Mega Sableye just kind of fit weakness-wise. It wasn't really the first idea of the team, but it kind of worked. So, let's go in and see how this turned out. So, I led with Scizor, seeing, well, Landorus was too obvious. I didn't want to go for a Stealth Rod turn 1 anyway, because she had a lot of Pokemon that would beat Landorus. And Vaporeon, of course, is one of those right there. So, U-turn, this is a Choice Band Scizor, so U-turn does a boatload of damage, like over 70%. I thought Vaporeon took U-turn a little bit better than that, but I guess my info is a little rusty. She goes for the Aqua Ring, and that, I don't think I've seen that on a Vaporeon before, even in Gen 4. It's a really interesting move, and I guess it's an alternative to Wish here, but I don't know. I went for the Will-O-Wisp because the Gastrodon switch was fairly obvious, but she actually doesn't switch, goes for the Toxic instead, which was interesting. Funny thing with Aqua Ring actually is that with that and Leftovers, it completely negates the burn. She doesn't get to heal any HP anymore, but she never takes damage from the burn as long as it's in, which is definitely not good for me here. But again, obvious Gastrodon switch would have been obvious, so I just hard switch out to Gothitelle here, kind of wanting to get the trap on this, and it doesn't actually happen. Vaporeon just goes for the Scald, but that's okay. Gothitelle can take 2 of those, and The burn didn't happen, so that's always good. And now Gothtel has trapped Vaporeon, so I can just go ahead and knock it out with a T-Ball. T-Ball or Energy Ball, whichever one you're carrying, obviously works good against the water types. That's kind of the idea. And Vaporeon doesn't really get to do too much. I guess it did Toxic my Rotom, and I don't have Rest on Rotom, so that's kind of nice. Unfortunately, Gothtel doesn't really serve too much of a purpose in this game, so I just left it in here, expecting it to get killed. It's a Choice Specs Gothtel, so it's definitely slower than the Gallade here. And the Gallade goes to Night Slash. No knockoff, which I thought was a bit weird, but then again, maybe just no access to Chidamere stuff. I should probably ask her about that. I could give her a Chidamere thing. So Scizor can take anything from Gallade, and Gallade says, nope, I ain't taking no Scizor damage today. And Metagross comes in. Metagross is probably the best thing that she could put in against this U-turn here. I went for the U-turn because, again, I can take one guaranteed hit from Gallade. It would have probably OHKO'd Gallade, actually, if it stayed in, seeing how much it did to that Vaporeon. It's ridiculous. So now Sableye comes in, and Prankster Will-O-Wisp is always a thing. I don't know whether she should have stayed in here. I probably would have gone to the Gastrodon, even though it hurts taking Will-O-Wisp, because that Meteor Mash did nothing. And she can't go Mega because Gallade, obviously, so I just go and set up the Calm Mind here. I know that I can't get killed in the current state of affairs. Sure, she could get an attack buff here and there, which would be annoying, but she could also miss, because Meteor Mash is pretty fickle like that. And as long as I don't go Mega, I will always go first with my Recover. So the idea, from what I see with Sableye, the idea with this whole Calm Mind setup is to stay in regular form as long as possible to make sure that you have Prankster for as many turns as feasible, and then just kind of go Mega when you need Magic Bounce. That's pretty much it. So if something comes in wanting to Toxic you, then just go ahead and go for it. Go for the Mega Evolution, get the Magic Bounce off, and you're laughing. So I could easily get to +6 here, and I probably should have, to be honest, but I figured, you know, I'd best not, because it's kind of silly. I went for the Recover on that turn because I wanted to be at as high a HP as possible when the burn killed here. The burn actually did kill, so that was kind of good. Could have maybe survived that if it was just very slightly higher, so I could have probably done better if I checked that first, but Flygon doesn't really do anything to Sableye. The Flygon would usually be like a Choice Scarf or maybe Choice Band if you really need that. And well, that Dragon Rush kinda did a decent bit, I suppose, about 40 damage or so, but really that's 25%, right? And I can just recover that, no problem. Dragon Rush itself is an interesting move. You see there why it's not normally used, because it misses, and that kinda sucks. So I was like, well, okay, I really could get to +6 if I wanted to. There's absolutely nothing stopping me getting to +6 here. I end up just sticking at +3 though, because I didn't really want to be that cheap. Let's be honest. This game is kind of weird that way. Sableye is someone I've wanted to test for a while. Remember, I don't actually play Showdown at all, so at least not right now. Well, the flinch really didn't matter. I went for the Dark Pulse because I thought, well, +3 Dark Pulse probably just kills Flygon, so I kind of wanted just to get this done. I felt a little bit bad actually with this Sableye. There wasn't really any way that she could knock it out. She had no fairy moves on the team at all. Normally we're seeing a lot of Sylveon and Clefable and stuff like that to take on Sableye, but no such luck here. Now, I guess with me being in this position, I had a little bit of a debate as to whether to go for the Will-O-Wisp with a Recover, because I did leave myself at much lower HP than I could have done. But the Will-O-Wisp turned out to be the right move. If I went for the Recover, I would have been... well, she would have done about 80 damage to me instead. I could have survived it, but in the end it was probably better to go for the Will-O-Wisp first. Thankfully it didn't miss. Didn't really get, you know, bad luck on my side too much this game, which is fine. And yeah, Brave Bird really doesn't do enough in this situation. So, unfortunately, that's just kind of the thing. The fact that I'm already at +3 special defense means that special attackers don't really do too much to me, but the physical attackers can't really do a whole lot either because I burn them as soon as they come in. There's no setup on this team for physical, so there's nothing like Swords Dance, I don't know, Bishop or whatever that could boost past the attack drops from the burn, and well, that kind of just results in Sableye going ham. Cross Poison, even though it's resisted, is a sort of decent idea here, going for the poison, because if I go Magic Bounce, then yeah, there's not much going there. I guess Crobat could have been carrying Taunt. I guess I could have been screwed up by that, really, but I wasn't really thinking too much on that. I was satisfied with where I was with it. If I did get taunted, I would have just gone Mega afterwards and Dark Pulse everything. And here it was like, well, I don't want to get Toxic. I know she's already had Toxic on Vaporeon, but Gastrodon generally carries Toxic, so I just went for the Mega here, just in case. Skull doesn't really get anything going because I'm at +3, and Gastrodon is getting 2-shot by Dark Pulse with no investment whatsoever. Gastrodon is freaking bulky too, so it's kind of interesting. I think if I'd have been in Glace's shoes here, I probably would have gone for the Gastrodon immediately because of, well, I mean, I kind of know a little bit about what Sableye does, so obviously I do because I'm using one right here, so I would have probably gone for the Gastrodon immediately. Taking the Will-O-Wisp would have been annoying, but Gastrodon's got recover, so there is that. And I would have probably been fishing for the Skull Burns right away rather than leaving it this way. It would have forced me to go Mega too, so everything else would have been slower, and it probably would have worked out a little bit differently. So yeah, unfortunately not the greatest of games, but we did get to see a lot of what Sableye can do, which is something that I've obviously read about and been in theory, but not playing too many of these games I haven't really seen in action, so that's why I'm uploading this one anyway. Hopefully we shall get some more battles done soon, and maybe they can be a little bit closer. We can show a little bit more of this team off, I suppose, because we only really saw 3 Pokemon. No, we saw 4 Pokemon in this game, right? Because Rotom was out too, so we didn't get to see Landorus, we didn't get to see Sylveon, but everybody knows what they do anyway, so who cares, right? But anyway, hopefully, as I say, we shall get some more games done soon. If you want to follow me on Twitter at GameAccount, then that's where I shall be asking for games, most of all, if I'm actually going to look for some. And yeah, until next time, I guess. Take care.